All right, picture this. It's 1907. We're in a cozy living room in San Francisco, about to listen to a story from someone who actually lived it. We're going to dive into the incredible life of Maria Paul, a journey that covers continents, heartbreaks, and victories, all told in her own words, from her own memoir.
And that's how she starts. You can almost feel the warmth from that fire, can't you? So Maria is 80 years old, and she's talking directly to her grandkids. This isn't some stuffy, formal history book she's writing. No, she's passing down a legacy, sharing her entire life story from a comfy chair in the city she literally helped build.
And this right here, this is why she's telling her story. For Maria, memory isn't just about, reminiscing. It's an anchor. It's the thing that holds a family steady and gives them a sense of where they're going. And this one idea, it's the absolute heart of her entire story.
Okay, so let's pull up a chair and join those grandkids by the fire. We're about to hear the story of how a young Irish girl became the matriarch of a family in California, all in her own words for the very people who would carry her memory into the new century.
So our story doesn't start in America at all. We have to go way back, across the Atlantic. Maria was born back in 1827 in County Cork, Ireland. She talks about it as this beautiful, green country, a place she always carried with her. But her childhood and her youth unfolded during one of the absolute darkest chapters in all of Irish history.
I mean, the scale of this disaster is it's hard to even wrap your head around. When the potato crop failed in 1845, it wasn't just a tough time. It was a full-blown catastrophe. 1 million people. 1 million people died. And that number, that isn't just some abstract statistic. It was the force that literally pushed an entire generation, including Maria, out into the wider world. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? In her own powerful words, we see her choice. She's staring a national tragedy in the face, and her decision to leave, well, it wasn't just about finding a better job. It was about pure survival. She was only 23 years old when she crossed the ocean by herself, all alone, pushed by maybe the most powerful force there is, just that simple, desperate need to live.
So she lands in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and she says it felt like one of the great cities of the world. Just try to imagine that for a second. The transition from a starving, quiet countryside in Ireland to the loud, bustling, prosperous whaling capital of the entire planet. This is where her American story really kicks off. And it's right there in this crazy, busy port city that she meets a guy named John Paul. His job? He was a cooper. So he made barrels and casks, a super important job in a city that ran on shipping whale oil. He was a working man, originally from Newfoundland, and yeah, he was about to change her life forever.
And there it is, April 29th, 1852. They get married. Think about that. After everything she's been through, surviving a famine, crossing the ocean completely alone, Maria finds a partner and starts her own family. This is the real beginning of their journey together, a partnership that was about to take them clear across a continent.
But New England wasn't the end of the road for them. Not even close. The newspapers back then were just packed with stories about the West, about gold, about land, about opportunity. So John and Maria made a huge decision. They decided to pack up their growing family and make an even more ambitious move.
And wow, what a journey it turned out to be. We're not talking about a single road trip here. This was a 10-year-long push to the west. First from the coast of Massachusetts to the booming city of Chicago, and then, finally, the big one, the journey to their ultimate goal, California. Every single one of those moves was a huge, massive undertaking.
I mean, just look at how they had to do it. This was 1862, right? That's a full 7 years before the Transcontinental Railroad was finished. So to get to California, they couldn't just go west. They had to go south. They took a train, then a ship across the Gulf of Mexico, then another boat and a rickety train across the jungle in Panama, and then another ship all the way up the Pacific coast. It was an absolutely brutal multi-step odyssey, and they had small kids with them the whole time.
But after all of that, they made it. They arrived. And Maria's first look at San Francisco, as they sailed through what we now call the Golden Gate, she said it made everything worth it. She describes it like something out of a fairy tale. This was it. This was the place they had traveled so far and for so long to find. They were finally home.
And they would spend the next 45 years of their lives in San Francisco. It was a life of hard work, raising a big family on those famously steep city streets. And while it was definitely the home they had dreamed of, it was also a place filled with incredible sorrow. And this
This is just a gut-punching reminder of what life was like in the 19th century. Maria had 7 children, and she had to bury 4 of them. She says you carry them with you, the ones you lose. It's a kind of grief she lived with for decades, a pain that just never really goes away.
And this is why she makes a point to tell her grandkids about these losses. She explains it right here. Because the truth of a family, it isn't just the highlight reel, the happy moments. It's the whole story, the sorrows, right there with the joys. And that, for her, is the real anchor.
And then, as if she hadn't been through enough, just 1 year before she's telling this story, her city faces its own epic catastrophe. At 78 years old, Maria lives through the great 1906 earthquake. She talks about this terrifying roar from the earth that lasted less than a minute, but then came the aftermath. 3 straight days of fires that followed, leaving the city she had called home for over 40 years completely in ruins.
But even after all that, out of all that devastation, Maria finds a message of hope. I mean, think about it. She's seen famine, she's experienced unimaginable personal loss, and now she's seen her city totally destroyed. And her takeaway? It's all about resilience. The city rose again. And when you hear her say that, you can't help but hear the echo of her own life, because no matter what, she always got back up too.
And that brings us right back to where we started, by that fireside in 1907. Her long story is coming to a close, and she's about to share the single most important lesson she learned over 80 years and thousands of miles.
And here it is, her final, most important piece of wisdom. We are all a collection of the places and the people who came before us. She says Ireland is still inside her, and Newfoundland is inside her grandkids. All those places, County Cork, Newfoundland, New Bedford, Chicago, they're all part of the story. Her last request to her family is so simple. Just remember. Don't be in such a hurry to forget where you came from, because that is exactly what made you who you are.
And really, that leaves all of us with a final question, doesn't it? Maria Paul's story is uniquely hers, of course, but that core idea is universal. Her life is this powerful reminder for all of us to look at our own histories, to ask ourselves about the journeys, the struggles, and the places that shaped our families. So what places and what stories are inside you? What stories make up your anchor?